What if the very thing you've been told your entire life is the ultimate secret to success, like sheer, relentless, grinding willpower, is actually the exact thing guaranteeing your burnout?
Oh, that is a huge question. And honestly, it hits home for a lot of people.
Right, because, I mean, think about it. We live in a culture that just completely glorifies the grind. We're told that if you want a promotion or a better relationship or a healthier body, you just have to force that outcome.
Yeah, you have to push through it.
Exactly, through stress, white knuckles, pit bull determination. But what if that uphill battle is completely unnecessary?
It's a really provocative question, and it gets right to the heart of the fundamental problem we are tackling today, because the inevitable result of that white knuckle approach is just total exhaustion.
Yeah, you just hit a wall.
You do. When you're forcing your way through life, the very moment your willpower slips even a little bit, everything feels like it falls apart. It's an incredibly precarious, high-stress way to live.
It really is. So, welcome to our deep dive. Today, our mission is to completely flip the script on how you achieve your desires and solve those daily struggles.
And we have some incredible source material for this.
We do. We are exploring the core philosophy of a truly transformative book, The Power of Intention by Wayne W. Dyer. And the goal here is to give you a comprehensive summary of this work, breaking it down simply and clearly, because it requires a massive paradigm shift.
It really does. And to make that shift, we first have to unlearn our fundamental definition of the word intention. Like, normally if someone says, she is a person of great intention, you probably picture someone with a relentless drive, right?
Yeah, exactly. I picture someone who's fiercely ambitious and just, won't let any obstacle get in her way, aggressively making things happen.
Right, but that is the psychological, ego-driven definition of intention. The author experienced a major turning point that redefined this entirely for him.
Oh, right, when he was waiting for surgery.
Yeah, he was actually waiting to have heart surgery, dealing with his own intense stress, obviously, and he was reading a book by Carlos Castaneda, and he came across a quote that completely stunned him.
What was the quote?
It stated that intention is not a personal psychological trait. It is a force that exists in the universe. It's an invisible field of energy.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because that is a wild shift in perspective. We're moving from intention being an attitude, like being really determined, to intention being a tangible, universal force. Like gravity?
Precisely like gravity. It's omnipresent. The source material emphasizes that intention is an energy field built into literally everything in the natural world.
Okay, so how does that work practically?
Well, think about an acorn. An acorn doesn't need willpower or like a vision board to become a giant oak tree.
Right, it doesn't have a 5-year plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't sit around stressing about its growth trajectory or its career path. The intention is just built into it. An apple blossom never accidentally turns into an orange. The author calls this a future pole.
A future pole. I like that.
Yeah, that pole is in the DNA at the very moment of conception. And because you, as a human being, are part of this universe, that same future pole is built right into you.
See, that makes sense for an acorn, but it naturally brings up the paradox of free will. If I have this pre-programmed future pole inside me, do I even have a choice in my life? Or am I just, a biological robot on a track?
That is the most common pushback, for sure. And the answer is that you absolutely have free will. But free will is simply your ability to choose whether you align with this universal spirit or whether you move away from it toward your own ego.
Oh, I see. You always have a choice which direction to face.
Exactly.
So relying on ego and willpower is basically like dropping your canoe into a massive river, turning it upstream, and paddling furiously against the current. You're sweating, getting blisters, stressing out, and you're barely moving.
Yes, exactly.
You have the free will to do that. But true intention is just turning the canoe around. You're still in the boat, you still have to navigate, but you're letting the current, that universal energy field, do the heavy lifting and carry you where you were naturally designed to go.
That is a much better way to look at it, yeah. You're working with the momentum of the universe, not against it. But of course, the challenge is making that connection practically.
Right. If I'm late for a meeting and my inbox is overflowing, how do we connect to an invisible energy field?
Well, the author provides a really vivid visualization for this, drawing from a childhood memory. Growing up in Detroit, he used to ride the streetcar.
Okay.
And as a little boy, he was too short to reach the hanging straps that the adults held onto to stay steady when the car jolted. So he would just imagine himself floating up, light as a feather, to grab that trolley strap.
Oh.
Yeah, and he suggests using this exact image in moments of anxiety. Visualize a trolley strap hanging just a few feet above your head, attached to the flowing power of intention. Imagine yourself reaching up, grabbing the strap, and trusting that power to stabilize you.
I really like that because it doesn't mean you go limp and do nothing. You're still standing on your own 2 feet on the streetcar, but the strap keeps you from falling over when things get bumpy. You are supported.
Exactly, you are supported. And the sources break down this process of grabbing the strap into 4 specific steps: discipline, wisdom, love, and surrender.
Wait, let's pause right there. Discipline. I thought we were abandoning willpower. Why is training your body and having discipline step one? It sounds totally contradictory.
I know it does sound counterintuitive, but it's about mechanism. Discipline here isn't about punishing yourself or forcing outcomes. It's about creating a biological and mental baseline.
Okay, what do you mean by baseline?
Well, if your body is exhausted, if you're eating poorly, or if your mind is entirely scattered by distractions, you simply don't have the focus required to tune into a subtle energy field. Physical discipline clears the mental fog.
Ah, okay, so it's the prerequisite, like cleaning the windshield before you drive.
Exactly. And how does that lead to the second step? Wisdom. Because once the physical vessel is disciplined and quiet, you can actually harmonize your thoughts. That is wisdom.
Being able to actually hear yourself think.
Right. It's the ability to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. From there, you move to love, which is doing what you love and loving what you do. And finally, surrender. Surrender requires shifting your reliance from your ego will to your imagination.
Okay, I have to push back slightly here, because for a lot of people listening, the idea that imagination could possibly be more practical or powerful than hard work and grit in the cutthroat real world sounds a little, well, delusional.
Sure, it sounds like daydreaming.
Right. How does daydreaming pay the rent?
What's fascinating here is how the author differentiates idle daydreaming from what he calls thinking from the end. He uses the example of a fire walk.
Like walking on hot coals.
Yes, if you try to cross hot coals using only sheer willpower, clenching your jaw, focusing on the pain, and forcing your body through it, your body tenses up and you get severely burned.
Because you're focused on the danger.
Exactly. But imagination is your invisible connecting link to the universal mind. If you step onto those coals holding a firm image of divine protection, visualizing yourself as completely safe and your feet as cool, your physiology actually responds to that image. You cross unharmed.
So it's about the physical response to a mental prototype.
Exactly. The author didn't write this massive best-selling book by chaining himself to a desk through painful discipline. He wrote it by holding a crystal clear image in his imagination of the completed book.
He already saw it done.
Yeah, he felt what it would be like to have it out in the world, and that mental prototype compelled him to take the right actions effortlessly. When you hold a firm image of what you intend, without doubt, you are matching your frequency to the universe.
So imagination is essentially the radio dial we use to connect to this energy field, which begs the question, if we have the dial, we need to know exactly what frequencies to tune into. What does this field actually look like?
If you could personify it, the author argues, you would see the 7 faces of intention. To match the field, you must emulate these 7 faces in your own life.
Okay, what are they?
They are creativity, kindness, love, beauty, expansion, unlimited abundance, and receptivity.
Let's focus on a couple of those because I think some are much harder to practice in modern society than others. Receptivity, for example. We are taught to hustle, to take, to earn. Rarely are we taught how to simply receive without guilt.
Oh, absolutely. And beauty is another one we struggle with because we are wired to look for threats and flaws. But kindness might be the most powerful face to explore. The source material shares a truly incredible story about a learning disabled boy named Shia to illustrate this.
Oh, this story is amazing.
It really is. Shia and his father are walking past a park where some kids are playing baseball. Shia asks his dad if he can join. It's the bottom of the 8th inning, the team is losing, but they decide to let him play.
Just to be nice.
Right. Fast forward to the bottom of the 9th. The bases are loaded, there are 2 outs, and Shia is up to bat. It is the defining moment of the game.
The highest pressure situation possible.
Exactly. Now, the opposing pitcher realizes that Shia doesn't even know how to properly hold the bat. So instead of throwing a fastball to strike him out and win the game, he takes a few steps forward and softly lobs the ball. Shia swings clumsily and misses.
And from there, it just becomes this incredible display of collective empathy.
Yes. One of Shia's teammates actually comes up behind him, wraps his arms around him, and they hold the bat together. The pitcher tosses it softly again, and together they tap a slow grounder back to the pitcher.
So the pitcher could easily just throw it to first base and end the game right there.
He could, but instead he chooses kindness over winning. He throws the ball on a high arc way over the first baseman's head. As Shia runs to first, wide-eyed, the opposing right fielder catches on to what's happening.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, he throws the ball way over the third baseman's head. The opposing shortstop actually points Shia toward third base.
It's like the entire environment shifts to support him.
Precisely. By the end of it, players from both teams are running behind Shia, cheering him on as he steps on home plate. They lift him on their shoulders. He hit a grand slam, all because dozens of kids silently agreed to tune into the frequency of kindness.
That is such a powerful visual.
It is. And here is where the science backs up. The philosophy, acts of kindness, actually produce physical changes in the body. The source notes that being kind boosts your immune system and increases your serotonin levels.
Wait, I knew it felt good to do something nice, but there's a measurable biological shift.
A massive one.
Yeah.
And it isn't just for the person receiving the kindness. The serotonin boosts for the giver, the receiver, and this is the crazy part, even anyone who simply observes the act of kindness.
That is mind-blowing. Just watching someone be kind to someone else improves your own immune system. That is the literal definition of an energy field altering the environment.
Exactly. It radiates outward. And the face of beauty operates similarly. To match this frequency, you have to choose to see beauty everywhere, regardless of your environment.
Even when things are awful.
Yes. The author highlights Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the concentration camps during the Holocaust. Frankl described a moment where he was given a bowl of filthy water with a fish head floating in it as his only meal. Yeah. But instead of focusing on the horror and the degradation of his reality, he trained himself to find beauty in the sheer fact that he was alive to see it. He proved that beauty is a choice of perception, not a circumstance.
That is a staggering level of mental control. And frankly, if he can choose to see beauty in a fish head in a concentration camp, I can certainly find a way to see beauty during a stressful commute or a tough day at the office.
We all can. It is just a matter of tuning the dial.
But this leads to a really practical question. If this field is so positive, so beautiful, and it's literally everywhere built into our DNA, why do we constantly feel so disconnected from it? If it's so natural, why are we always sabotaging ourselves?
Because of the roadblocks we construct,
Yeah.
namely the ego. The ego is the part of us that believes we are separate from everything else, and it operates on 6 primary beliefs that completely sever our connection to intention.
What are those beliefs?
The ego says, I am what I have, I am what I do, I am what others think of me, I am separate from everyone else, I am separate from what is missing in my life, and I am separate from the universal source.
So if I lose my job and my ego firmly believes I am what I do, my entire identity collapses.
Exactly. The ego creates a reality based on lack and separation. So to bypass those roadblocks, the author introduces a concept called the match game.
The match game, how do we play that?
Basically, to connect to intention, your inner speech, that constant narrative voice in your head must match the 7 faces of intention.
And we are terrible at this.
Yeah.
We have a chronic habit of engaging in low-energy inner speech. We focus exclusively on what's missing. We obsess over past failures, telling ourselves, this is how it has always been, which just guarantees it will stay that way.
Yes, and there is a brilliant example in the text of how oblivious we are to this. The author describes talking to a man on a gym treadmill for 5 minutes.
Okay, what happened?
Well, during that entire conversation, the man did nothing but brag about his past surgeries, his current ailments, and his upcoming joint replacements.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was perfectly illustrating how the ego wears illness as a badge of honor to get attention. He was actively resisting any healing energy by making his sickness his entire personality.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It's so deeply ironic how we actively sabotage our own happiness by complaining. Like, we want things to get better, but our inner dialogue is obsessively focused on how bad things are. So how do we catch ourselves in the act of playing a no-match game?
You have to become a ruthless auditor of your own inner dialogue. When you catch yourself thinking, I don't have enough money, you have to immediately recognize that as a no match because the universal field only knows abundance.
It doesn't compute lack.
Right. It doesn't understand lack at all. So you pivot that thought. You change it to, I intend to attract unlimited abundance into my life. If you catch yourself thinking, I hate this tiny apartment, you pivot to, I can see our new home in my mind and I intend to be living in it soon.
It's important to note, though, that this isn't just toxic positivity or sticking your head in the sand. It's about harmonizing your frequency with the frequency of creation so you can actually do something about it.
Right. Which brings us to the most crucial part, application.
Exactly. Because it's one thing to say, I'm going to change my inner dialogue, but how does this actually fix our real-world problems? Let's say I am completely overwhelmed at work. Dropping my ego is great in theory, but peace of mind doesn't magically clear my overflowing inbox or appease my boss. How does intention solve stress?
The author introduces a concept he calls Rule Number 6, which he borrowed from a Boston Philharmonic conductor. Rule Number 6 is incredibly simple. Don't take yourself so damn seriously.
Okay, I'm bracing myself. What are rules 1 through 5?
That is the best part. There aren't any. It is just rule number 6.
That's hilarious.
Right. Because stress, at its core, is simply the ego demanding that the world bend to its specific timeline and its specific expectations. Your inbox is overflowing and your ego says, this shouldn't be happening to me. This is unfair. I need this done now.
It's making it all about me.
Exactly. When you feel that physical stress rising, the source suggests repeating a simple mantra, I want to feel good.
I want to feel good. It almost sounds too simple.
It is simple, but it interrupts the ego's spiral. By consciously choosing to feel good, you are intentionally raising your energy away from the panic and matching the universe's natural state of peace.
That's like a circuit breaker.
Yes. And from that peaceful state, You can tackle the inbox much faster than from a state of panicked paralysis.
That makes a lot of logical sense. But what about material needs? Let's talk about abundance. Because again, feeling peaceful doesn't pay the mortgage. How does this energy field approach actual material lack?
The guiding axiom here is change the way you look at things and the things you look at change. As we touched on with the match game, the universe does not understand the concept of scarcity.
Okay, so how does that affect our desires?
Well, if you pray or intend for more money, the universe matches the frequency of your prayer. And the frequency of asking for more is a frequency of lacking. The universe essentially says, okay, you are vibrating at a state of needing money, so I will give you more needing money.
Oh, wow. So by focusing on the need, you were just manifesting more need.
Precisely. To attract abundance, you must act and feel as if the abundance is already there. You have to embody the feeling of what the author calls excessive sufficiency.
Excessive sufficiency.
Yeah, you visualize the bill being paid effortlessly, you feel the relief of it. That mental state naturally guides your actions toward the opportunities that will actually generate that income.
Which flows perfectly into how we find our purpose.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel lack, not just in money, but in meaning. There was a great story in the book about the author's 19-year-old daughter, Summer.
Oh, yes, this is a great example.
She had quit her job at a restaurant. She was feeling lost, and she just wasn't sure what to do with her life.
And her dad, the author, told her to just be open, stop stressing about the how, and trust in intention.
Right. And she was highly skeptical, as any teenager would be. But the very next day, she's out, and she sees a random, handwritten sign on a telephone pole advertising for horseback riding lessons.
And she had always loved horses, right?
Exactly. Instead of ignoring it, she followed that urge and called the number. It turned out the woman wasn't just giving lessons. She desperately needed someone to lead trail rides for kids, and she offered to pay Summer double what she made at the restaurant.
That is synchronicity in action. We so often stress about finding our purpose, treating it as a specific job title we have to hunt down and capture.
Like it's a trophy.
Right. But the source makes it unequivocally clear. Purpose isn't what you do, it is how you feel. When you are following what makes you feel inspired, you are on purpose. The path reveals itself.
So what does this all mean? I have to ask the ultimate skeptic's question here. Does this imply that we just sit on the couch, imagine $1 million in a dream job, wait for the universe to deliver a check to our living room, and do absolutely nothing?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the answer is absolutely not. This is not a philosophy of passive inaction. True alignment with intention naturally compels you to act.
Compels you, okay.
Think about the word inspired. It literally means to be in spirit. When you are in spirit, you replace the ego's constant anxiety with a universal seri. Yes.
Yes.
You aren't sitting passively on the couch. You are turning into an active co-creator with the universe.
Oh, I see.
You are moved to take action like Summer calling the number on the telephone pole, but the action feels effortless, joyful, and guided, rather than forced and exhausting.
Because you are paddling with the current instead of against it.
Exactly.
Which brings us full circle. We started this deep dive talking about that exhausting uphill battle of ego-driven willpower. And the journey we've taken today shows a completely different, much lighter path.
It's a huge relief, honestly.
It is. You really can move from burnout to a life fueled by imagination. By tuning your inner radio to the 7 faces of intention, creativity, kindness, love, beauty, expansion, abundance, and receptivity, and by aggressively playing the match game with your own inner dialogue, you can effortlessly attract what you need.
You stop demanding that the universe yield to your ego's timeline. Instead, you reach up, grab the trolley strap to steady yourself, and let the flow of intention carry you where you are meant to go.
It's a massive, life-altering shift in perspective. But before we wrap up, there is one final, profound concept for the book's final chapters that we haven't touched on yet.
Oh, this is the big one.
It is heavy, but it's something I really want you to think about as you go about your day. It is the concept of infinity.
This raises a very important question about our true nature, and it is the logical conclusion of everything we've discussed today.
Exactly. The book argues that the energy field of intention has no beginning and no end. It is infinite. Now, if you emanated from that field like the acorn from the oak, and you are an inextricable piece of that field, then technically, the truest part of you has no beginning and no end either.
You are an infinite being.
Now, that sounds incredibly esoteric, but think about what that actually means for your daily life. If you are an infinite being, how much does a failed job interview really matter? How much does someone cutting you off in traffic really matter?
Not much in the grand scheme of things.
Right. Stepping onto what the author calls this active side of infinity completely shrinks our daily anxieties down to nothing. It eliminates the fear of failure, because failure is just a tiny blip on an endless radar. It even eliminates the ultimate human fear of death, because the truest part of you is endless.
It provides the ultimate context for our temporary human struggles.
So I will leave you with this to ponder. What could you achieve today? Or perhaps more importantly, what burden could you finally let go of today? If you truly believed, without a shadow of a doubt, that you are an indestructible, infinite being, just having a temporary human experience. You don't have to fight the current anymore. You just have to let the river carry you.